Best Sony PlayStation VR Games 2022. What should you play after you've finally taken the plunge and picked up PSVR? The headset comes with a demo disc with tasters from multiple titles, but you'll need more than that to get the most out of the system's talents. Luckily, we've been avidly playing PSVR games for years and have whittled down the now massive selection available to a handful of must-have titles. These represent the best experiences available, from immersive rhythm games to full throttle shooters. Astro Bot Rescue Mission. Astro Bot Rescue Mission is a perfect example of how to develop a great VR game. It would probably be a nice platformer with invention and a real sense of fun even if you didn't need to put on a headset to enjoy it. But its developers have seamlessly integrated VR gameplay into it, allowing you to roam the level more freely and with your DualShock controller as part of the game world. It's a dynamic and joyful game that is suitable for all ages and is a model for other games to follow in the future. As you guide the little robot around you through the levels, you'll fire grappling hooks, shurikens and more to get him to achieve his goal. It's awesome fun and a must-have game for PSVR owners. Superhot VR. Superhot is another game that works great without VR, but takes a big leap when you're fully immersed in its world. This shooter is designed around the ingenious premise that time only moves when you do it, and plays as much like a puzzle game as it does an action game. In virtual reality, however, his world becomes even more appealing. Bleached white backgrounds and red enemies are crisp and distinct, and having direct control over your movements using the Move controllers takes things up a notch. It's a fascinating experience and one you won't soon forget. By the time you're in the swing, you'll feel like Neo after realizing he's the only one. It's so convincing. Batman. Arkham VR. Batman. Arkham VR is one of the best VR games for PlayStation VR and really shows what is possible. Constructed of several mini-games that make up the chapters of a puzzle adventure, Batman. Arkham VR really gives you the feeling of what it must be like to be Batman himself. You start as Bruce Wayne, then descend into the Batcave in order to don all of Batman's attire. Each item, like the gloves and the hood, has different actions to perform and it will make comic book fans giddy with excitement. Throughout the rest of the game, you'll be able to visit a dirty alley in Gotham and encounter several classic villains along the way. It is sometimes breathtaking. To be honest, just being able to get into the Batshoes is enough for us, everything else is a bonus. Skyrim VR. Some of the best VR experiences are those that effectively convert an existing game into VR. This is perfectly exemplified by Skyrim VR, which is literally only the 5th Elder Scrolls game, but in VR. This means you have a huge and expansive story to play alongside countless side quests and worthy distractions. It's one of the best and most popular games of all time, so being immersed in its world once again is a total pleasure. Don't forget to get some fresh air once in a while. Tetris Effect. Ah, Tetris. You might be surprised to see such a venerable name on a list of VR titles, but the Block Puzzler's most recent release was a surprise hit for immersive gaming. It's Tetris like you've never seen it before, dynamic, constantly evolving and with a soundtrack that defies belief. If you have PSVR, however, it becomes something else entirely, a trippy journey into a different kind of world. It's transporting and relaxing, and the best way to play one of the most unique games of recent years. VR Hitman. With Hitman 3, IO Interactive made a huge surprise addition in the form of Hitman VR, which lets you play through missions from any of the 3 Hitman games you own in VR. It's a lot of fun, allowing you to take on the role of Agent 47 to sneak through complex levels and get even closer to your targets. The fact that it's basically a free bonus with the full game if you have a PSVR headset is even more of a reason to take the plunge and pick it up, to see how well you'd actually do as a PSVR headset. Killer for Hire. Farpoint. Farpoint is one of the best VR experiences we've ever had. Paired with the PSVR aim controller, it's a fully immersive first-person shooter, but that gun peripheral makes all the difference, as it's so much more comfortable to use than a Move controller trigger. Smaller. The game itself combines shooting with exploration, set in a vast, beautifully designed land. You'll spend as much time looking around as you do frantically shooting acid-spitting spiders and dragging them around. Described by Sony as a disturbing VR space adventure set on a hostile alien planet, your mission is to retrieve scientists studying an anomaly near Jupiter, before a rupture transports you to an unknown alien world. Battle Area. Battlezone is based on the classic Atari 80s arcade game but dramatically speeds up the action. It almost feels like you're inside Tron. With guns and tanks. We think Battlezone functions as an arcade-style game to dive into and play casually, though there's also plenty of progression and depth. You command a tank, using your head position to target, and the DualShock 4 controller to fire and maneuver around the different types of arenas. It's got a great style and a floating motion that works a treat for a VR experience. We didn't feel out of place like we did in some VR games before. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard VR. Resident Evil 7 is creepy, pants-wetting stuff. Put it in VR and it's even truer. We were reluctant to try it, to be honest. Anyone who's seen the trailer will know about the dark style and jumping moments. You're locked in a creepy house, where there are dead crows in the microwave, burnt dolls in the hallway, and all sorts of other creepy, evil things on display. The goal is to get out, with a variety of means available to do so. If you're a little bummed, you might find that a full horror game in VR knocks you over, but for the strength of the experience, it's almost unmatched. Drive Club VR. If, like us, a Lamborghini is a little out of reach in real life, why not see what it would be like to drive it in VR? Driving is perfect for the platform because it doesn't involve moving around, and Drive Club VR is the perfect demonstration of that. Driving in VR works wonders, and we found that we even go the extra mile to avoid other cars and run properly when you feel more immersed. When we first played it, we used a racing wheel and seat combo, which are great for enhancing the experience, but we've also had a lot of fun playing the game with just a DualShock 4 controller ever since. Director. Indie game Headmaster has been one of our favorite PSVR titles so far, despite being incredibly simple. You literally use your head and shoulders to avoid whiplash, to perform headers on balls fired at you. There are different stages, objectives and targets to achieve, but the best part of the game is that it is really fun. The comedy reminds us of games like the Stanley Parable, with great storytelling and fun events. You won't find much else to do in Headmaster, but it's one of the games we found ourselves coming back to again and again. Blood and Truth. Sometimes, even in VR, you just want a bit of silly action fun, and that's where Blood and Truth excels. It has great graphics and non-stop fun gameplay. Its gangster story won't set the world on fire with its sophistication, but it fulfills the dreams we all had of what VR gaming could offer compared to old-school arcade shooters. For a slightly more mature story-driven adventure, this is a great option. Res Infini. Res Infinite isn't just any old game. It's up there with Tetris Effect as possibly the most compelling experience you can have in VR. Anyone familiar with the original Res will understand the concept. It's basically a rail shooter, where enemies move at high speed towards your floating, disembodied self. You have to aim a reticle at them to dispatch them in time with amazing beats. In VR, it takes on another life. You can play it normally on a PS4, but you'll miss the kind of immersion that only a headset and an incredibly well thought out game can provide.